Well, hello there, this is D, and welcome to episode 134, take 13 of the Benzo Free podcast. It's about 13. I think it's it's probably more like 9 or 10, but this is like my 13th or 10th attempt at recording this. I recorded it several times in the past few weeks and wasn't happy, and then skip a day or two and then try it again, and I think just lack of confidence and indecision playing in, not sure what the detail was, but what the reason was. But I recorded again this morning. This is my third recording today. The first one didn't go well. I actually forgot to press a certain button on my recorder, and so it picked up from the wrong microphone, and that wasn't good. And then I realized that, and that was the one that I really thought I did a good job on. So then I recorded a second one, and this one I had the right setting, but I just didn't feel good because the first one was better than, it's just a long story. Anyway, here I am with episode 134, take 10 or 11 or something. I don't know. How you doing? I am here. Sorry for my absence. I have been away from the podcast for some time, from both this and the Uneven podcasts for some time. For about a month or so, I guess. Something like that. Just kind of getting my life in order, trying to get things feeling better, trying to do better, taking care of myself. No apologies. Sorry for those people who have been counting on the podcast and looking forward to hearing the next episode. I do apologize for you all, but no apologies for taking the time off, to be honest. I needed to take a little self-care and kind of handle things with my family and such, and I've done that. And still things going on, but I'm doing a little better. I'll catch you up on some of that stuff. In fact, let me do that really quickly here. I think I mentioned before, my wife's father passed away, and we had the funeral and memorial. A lot of family coming in. It was, and also we sat vigil with him as he was dying. And just a lot going on over the past month and a half with all that. So that did eat into a lot of our lives and our emotions and added to the stress and a lot of things going on. So that's behind us now. And now it's just coping with the loss, and especially for my wife, who was very close to her dad. So that takes a while. That takes a while to process that. And of course, I've had the ongoing nerve pain that maybe a little better. I think my paresthesia and hyperalgesia is a little better. The stabbing foot pain, the one that's really intense and comes out of nowhere, I just have no idea still what's really causing it. I think it's a little better, but it's definitely not significantly improved. I have had 2 sets of x-rays, 2 MRIs, an EMG nerve test. I've seen 6 or 7 different practitioners. I've been in physical therapy now for a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and I got a second opinion neurologist to go see here in a couple weeks. So it's an ongoing process trying to figure that one out. Also, just so you know, I am in the basement right now in my normal studio with my old studio mic. Down here, I've been recording some out in the patio. It's kind of nice, usually in the patio, although it's been really hot here lately. And today I stepped out, and the smoke that we've had for a couple of weeks, which has blocked out our mountains from here. We can usually see the mountains from our house, but it blocked those out for the last few weeks. And those were the fire from the fires, smoke from the fires in the northwestern Canada. But then a couple of days ago, we started getting our own fires here in Colorado, and we now have 4 burning along the front range of Colorado. And so this morning I stepped out and I could smell it instantly. So it's like you're walking into a campfire. So I decided, it's probably good to record this in the basement where there's a little healthier air to breathe for now. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm still dealing with the nerve pain and the foot pain and trying to do the best I can. But I'm changing my perspective, and it's something I do. I go through a process with each new wave or new symptom. I did so with dysphagia or difficulty swallowing a year ago, and it hit me for a little bit, and then went through tests and did a couple procedures, and then it eased, and I learned to live with it, but most of it passed away, and this one was most of it passed on. This one is a little harder because it's debilitating to what I can do. I have difficulty driving. Driving seems to set it off. So does some of my physical therapy exercises. We're still trying to figure out the cause. We've been looking at the back, been looking at the foot. Now I'm thinking of the calf. I don't know where this is really coming from, and that's been difficult too. Not having a reason or a cause. The fact that it's always in the same spot and always this stabbing pain, and it comes and goes at random. I just feel like there has to be something more than just the benzos. I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. But I have a feeling it's something else. But the main change for me, honestly, has just been my attitude. I got really tired of just sitting around not doing a whole lot, resting, trying to just take care of my nerve pain and trying to get through it. And I've had other random nerve pain with the paresthesia and pins and needles and stuff like that that's been going on with it. Akathisia has been kicking in too. So there's been other symptoms, but symptoms I'm more familiar with and have been used to. The stabbing foot pain is the more serious one, and it's the one that's more debilitating for me. So, but I'm learning to accept it. I think I've reached acceptance on this wave of symptoms, this latest symptom, and realizing that I just need to make the best of it. And I always get to that stage eventually with new symptoms. I get to that stage of where, okay, this is what I have, now I need to move forward. And eventually, it usually, almost always eases or goes away. And I'm hoping that's the case here. I will keep checking out with doctors. I'm going to keep checking out with his neurologist and try to find something that's going on here. But I realize it may just go away on its own, or it may just be something I deal with for a longer period of time. I don't know. But I'm doing better. And I was really looking forward to recording a podcast where I'm doing better and more positive. And I am more positive now, and I'm more hopeful. And I know that there's good things coming around the corner, and I'm just learning to live my life despite my symptoms. And I've had to do that many times in the past 10 years. I will be 10 years off benzodiazepines in 20 days. So 20 days from now, I will have my 10th anniversary. Not sure if I'm doing something for that or whatever, but I'll probably record something. So just to let you know, but it's come and gone. It's come and gone, and it's been a struggle. But like anything in our lives, we have two choices, I think, with something negative happening in our lives, and that is letting it own you, which I think we all do for a little while. I do that for a little while. Or deciding to live the best life you can despite what you have going on. And that's where I'm at now with this. So I'm going to work around it. I'm going to live with it as long as I have it. And I'm going to do the best I can in living a life and getting back to work. And that's why I'm here today. I'm getting back to work. It's time to get back to work. So here's the podcast. There'll be more Uneven podcasts coming out soon. Just so you know, if you haven't checked out the Uneven podcast, please do so. You can find it at our YouTube channel at EasingANX. That's the site for easing anxiety, which is at EasingANX. Both our podcasts are on that YouTube channel. You can find it on our website at easinganxiety.com, and you can find it on most major podcast carriers. Just look for Uneven Podcast, and you can probably pull it up. Oh, so, one of the things I've noticed a lot throughout this podcast and also on Uneven and just in general is the anxiety and stress level in the world today. And that's, I think, pretty clear right now. For us around here, the heat is definitely a factor. We're 100 degrees again today, I think. We've had several 100-degree days or in the low hundreds lately. We've been dealing with the smoke from, I told you, the other two fires, Northwest and Canada, and fires up in the Northwest, but now we have our own. So, that's been fun. And it's not uncommon for Colorado, to be honest. Every few years we go through a fire season, I would say. I've lived out here for over 25 years now, and I'm kind of used to them. But every few years we go through a fire season. So where the sun becomes bright red at sunset, or we can't see the mountains, which right now can't see the mountains from my home, which is means it's pretty hazy to do that. Or it's just you can tell when you go outside, like right now, and suddenly it smells like it's a campfire. So that's what we're dealing with, and the heat across the country, I think, is causing a lot of stress for a lot of people, along with the fires. There's a lot of distress in this world. There's a lot of people are struggling to find work. It seems like a lot of people say they can't find a job, and at the same point, there's a lot of companies that say they can't find good employees. So there's a disconnect there somewhere. If we could just figure those two out and make that work, that'd be great. But it seems like both are struggling. Employers are struggling to find employees, and employees are struggling to find employers. So something's not working there, and it'd be nice if we could figure that one out and get that fixed. Politics, of course, is making our lives stressful. I think for all of us, regardless of what side of the aisle you happen to find yourself on, politics makes us, you know, a little more agitated, I think. It's divisive, and it's really divisive now. Very polarized from what I remember it being growing up. The Olympics is already embroiled in controversy. There was an assassination attempt on a presidential candidate. The opposite party just switched over their primary candidate for president. There's unrest in Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Venezuela now, Europe. Protests in this country. It seems to kind of be heating up again or continuously. And I don't know. It scares us. I think it scares a lot of us. It's frightening to many people. I know there are people on both sides of the aisle here in the U.S. who believe the other people on the other side of the aisle are the absolute worst people ever and are the ones causing all these problems. And it's interesting, as more of a moderate, which I am, more of an independent for the most part, just seeing that argument go on where it's totally their fault or they're saying it's totally their fault. And neither one's probably absolutely right. It's probably somewhere in the middle, which is usually where it comes down to. But when we get so caught up in a specific ideology on one side or the other, it becomes very difficult, I think, to see the other people as human. Your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues who just happen to have different values, maybe different beliefs, maybe just different ideas of how to make your country better. I try to walk that middle line. I'm not always good at it. I definitely lean one way or the other now and then, and I definitely have some hot buttons that really irritate me. I am human. We all have that. But I'll tell you this, I don't wish anybody serious harm or harm, period. In fact, even the person who I don't want to say hate, but dislike intensely because of their stance or what they've said or their belief on, about different things, I still would love to sit down with them in a calm environment and just talk to them and listen to what they have to say and where they're coming from. And hopefully they listen to what I'd have to say. It sounds naive, I know that, but I believe in my heart most people are good inside. Most people want the same general things. And unfortunately, we just seem to have different ways of going about it. So I don't wish anybody ill will. I really don't. I like people, and I want to like people, and I want to keep that going. So sorry, I have to shift a lot in my chair, and it might squeak and stuff. My foot. It's hard for me to sit in this chair. That's part of what sets off my feet. My foot sometimes goes out, so I just had to go out with me on lunch just about an hour ago, and I'd gone a couple days without. When I say go out, it means suddenly have it. It's like somebody just suddenly stabbed me in the side of the foot with a knife, and it lasts for 3 to 5 seconds or so. Sometimes it happens a couple times right in a row, but then it goes away for a while. But I had that happen right at lunch today, and I hadn't had it for a couple of days, so it kind of sets you back a bit. But I'm not going to be negative about it. I'm going to be positive. Still dealing with it. I'm pushing through. I'm going to deal with it and make the best I can out of this. But so politics, the heat, we got distress in the world, different wars going on and conflicts going on. We got AI coming down that's taking jobs and making some people's lives better in certain ways, but also making other people's lives not so good. We don't know whether to trust AI. It's now doing all this kinds of stuff, and we don't know if it's honest or not. So I know some people that I talked to have already started working with AI, but they have to double check everything because they don't know the validity of what AI has produced. I don't trust it personally. I think it could lead to the downfall of human civilization at some point. I think that's possible. I'm not saying it's likely, but I think it's possible. And yet we don't seem to know how to stop. That's human nature. So that is a factor for me as far as stress goes. That's one of the reasons why I don't use AI for anything I do here on this site. It's just something I don't agree with. I won't let AI write my scripts. I won't let AI write my blogs. I'm doing that because when it comes to mental health, when it comes to physical health, when it comes to being alone, when it comes to struggling, when it comes to pain, when it comes to bind, when it comes to all these things, I believe we want to talk to a person. Somebody who's been there, somebody who knows it, somebody who understands, somebody you can connect with. And when you don't know if that person is real or not, that's not good. So I'm real. I'm a real person. Live here in Colorado. Have a wife. Have a dog named Murphy who's laying over there on the carpet. He was chewing on his bone a second ago. We're in my basement. I struggle. You've heard me. I have all the human problems that normal human people have, in addition to a few others, I think. But I think being able to connect, being able to trust, being able to communicate with another person is something we're losing. And I'm not going to feed that. I'm not going to be part of that. So if you're listening to anything or reading anything from Easing Anxiety, I'm going to tell you right up front now, it went through human hands, human eyes. Most of it was written by me. Some was written by Doreen and some other people that have worked here. But it wasn't generated by AI. We might have used searches, to find information and cite things, but this is us, and this is a human site. So there. And maybe AI will save us all. I don't know. I don't think that's the likely outcome. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I could be wrong, and I often am, and I'm okay with that. But with all this stuff going on in the world, I think we need to always keep in mind that we have to manage it. We have to find a way to manage it. We have to find a way to ease the anxiety, lessen the stress, to chill out a little better, to find a way to get relaxed, to find some peace in our lives, because the anxiety and the stress just builds on itself. It creates that vicious cycle, and it kicks off our symptoms of bind or benzo withdrawal or whatever you got going on. And it makes our lives harder. So finding ways to step away, to disconnect, to manage the stress and the anxiety can go a long way in helping us get through this successfully. So what else is going on? So that's the stress part. Let's move on to, I do have a little script here. I have some paper. You can hear me shuffling it a little bit. I've scripted this out, even though I'm only following it about halfway. I'm rambling in parts, as you can probably tell, but I don't script a lot of mine anymore. But this time I wanted to get a few things covered. I want to talk a bit about research. Let me just talk about this a bit. First of all, I did have some people ask me, somebody asked me on YouTube and someplace else about why I spend so much time on research, especially if it's kind of useless, and they were hinting at that or something. That wasn't their words. I'm just saying that was kind of the jigs, and I get it. I get it. I get the, what's the term I'm looking for? I get the, I can't find the term, but the negativity towards the medical profession as far as changing to better serve us and what we're dealing with. Many of us have had horrible experiences, and I know where that's coming from. I've had some of those, and it's difficult, but it's the only medical people we have to work with, and there are some very good ones out there who are helping a lot. But when it comes down to doctors, most of them honestly trust science more than they do their patients sometimes. It may not be right, but it's how it is. They're more linear, more logical, more whatever you want to term, more, is it right brain, left brain? More left brain, I think. God, I always get those two confused. But they often trust the science, and the science, usually in medical terms, is relating to articles, research articles, studies in peer-reviewed journals. That's usually what they're referring to. So that's where they see their data. And so how do you get those articles out there so those doctors can see that? You do research. There we go. And that's one of the primary reasons I do research. I now have 6 or 7, I think, papers that I'm an author on that have now been published in peer-reviewed journals, and I'm working on 2 more with the Benzo team that's sponsored by Bernie Silvernail out of the Alliance for Benzodiazepine Best Practices. And I'm also starting up 2 of my own, one on COVID and bind, and another one on, but basically a medical records research. I'm looking for some specific things there. I won't go into too many details, but 2 things that I'm trying to get kicked off, trying to build a team, pull in some doctors, get some funding, and get those kicked off. So I've become more and more active in research. And even though I've been pulling back a lot on a lot of things like Benzodiazepine Action Work Group, which I used to be co-chair of, and I pulled away from that along with Dr. Alexis Ritfo, who was my co-chair at the time. And I pulled away from some of the training, the peer training, to letting them kind of run that and pull back some. And some other areas I have definitely pulled back on some things because I want more time to focus on my site and what I'm doing and the podcast and other ideas related to that, which I'll talk about in a second. But also, the one thing I am trying to keep is the research. I feel like in the research is where we can finally make a difference. One article is not going to do it. We need a lot. We need several articles. We need people doing research and good research, solid research in respected journals. And once we do that, I do believe things start to happen. I know our bind article that we published a couple of years ago on benzodiazepine-induced neurological dysfunction, the one that we published on that has gotten a lot of attention. It was in major papers. It was in Psychology Today. It made all kinds of different articles and magazines, and it did get some attention, and it has made some difference. We still have a long way to go, but it made a difference, and it's the right direction to go, and we're doing more of that. And I'm excited about that. Other research I've been working on too is that we mentioned, if you saw the blog post, if you subscribe to our newsletter, I put a blog post out a week or 2 ago to help encourage people to go and comment on the deprescribing guidelines as part of the ASAM research, which is the American Society for Addiction Medicine. And I'm on the patient panel there along with JC and Nicole from BIC and Carrie from the Alliance and several other people, some mostly non-medical professionals, but lived experience individuals. And we're on the patient panel. And we advise that group of doctors and ASAM on the development of these deprescribing guidelines. Their latest version came out. We weren't exactly pleased with what they had. And as a group, we said, look, for us to sign off, we need these specific changes. This is going to do more harm than good. Well, they also opened it up for public comment. And so we were encouraging people to go and do the public comment. And many of you did. And I just want to say, first off, thank you to all the people that took the time to review that document and submit your comments to ASAM. I really appreciate that. And I also want to give a huge shout out to BIC, Benzodiazepine Information Coalition, JC and Nicole over there, who did a lot of work to promote this on their site and other places. And they're the place to go. If you want to learn more about it, they have a lot of information on this. So please go check out their site at benzoinfo.com. But I just want to say thanks to them for helping to promote this and getting more people to go there and fill out the public comment. Hopefully, all this en masse information and comments on this will make changes and make enough changes that we will feel comfortable in recommending the documentation. We'll see what happens. This is all based off of an FDA grant that came out that was actually based on some of the work that BIC and other groups had done. So it kind of came full circle. ASAM was chosen as the organizational body to manage this, and we're part of that process. So if that helps there. But that's research. That's all this research stuff that's going on. That's all these different panels. It's all these different, articles that we're working on. And this is a deprescribing guideline, meaning a guideline on tapering and withdrawing from benzos. So there's a lot of work going on and been a lot of work happening. And I just wanted to catch you up because I think we so often get caught in self-pity, which I do. I'm saying that first about me, but also in, well, again, I'm having trouble with words today. There's the cognitive fun part of all this. With the self-defeating, maybe that's the word, I don't know, the self-defeating attitude of, well, we can never really change anything. They're all against us. This is all going to be, it's just, we get into that situation instead of saying, look, we're making some differences. We are, and we are making some changes. Is it a long road? Absolutely. But is the right answer to walk away and do nothing, or to try harder and keep working at it? And we're going with the latter. I'm going to keep working at it. That's what we're doing, because I believe we can make a change. One of the changes we're trying to put in place also is a pilot clinic. We've been wanting to do that through the Benzodiazepine Information Coalition. No, wrong thing. That's BIC. Wow. See, I'm doing good on talking. So back up. We've been doing this, although some BIC members are involved in that, through the Benzodiazepine Action Work Group. That's the one, BOG. So that's the group that this is happening, the one that I used to co-chair and helped co-found with all the other people. And so we've had from the beginning the idea of creating a pilot benzodiazepine deprescribing clinic, meaning a clinic helping people come off benzodiazepines. And that's come up again in conversation in those meetings lately. And hopefully we're going to get that moving forward. I'm hoping I might take a leadership role on some of that. The consortium's involved with it and might be able to find some funding. We're hoping to maybe tie it to University of Colorado Anschutz Medical School and do some of that. So there's a lot of stuff going on there that's exciting too. And if we can get that pilot clinic kicked off, then we can also take that pilot clinic and use it as a template for other clinics around the country and around the world. So we'll see what happens there. But the other piece that I'm working on is my own, which is part of easing anxiety, and that is creating an online community. And I don't want to call it an online community. I want to call it a community because I don't want to just meet online. I want to meet in person with people. I want to travel around. I want to meet where you're at. I want you all to come where other people are at. I want that to be part of this. But we're going to start online because that's how we gather people together and that's how we communicate right now. So we have to utilize the internet to do some of that work for us. Now, I've had this idea for a long time with easing anxiety for a few years now, and we started to build that up when I was working with Doreen for a while. But then I had to back away because I needed to deal with my own stuff, and there was a lot of stuff going on in that. And so I had to step down for a bit from that project and just focus on the podcasts for a while. But I still always wanted to do this online community, and I was going to build it within the website at easinganxiety.com. But it's complicated, and it's hard to build that, even though we have that back end there, and some of you have already signed in and become part of that back end. You also realize there's really nothing there because I haven't had the time or the energy to build something lately. But also, it's complicated to build that out on this website provider because it just takes more work. It's more flexible, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And one of the things I've been moving towards is simplifying my processes as much as possible. I've done that for the podcast, for Uneven and for Benzo Free Podcast. And those now I can produce in a quarter of the time that I used to produce. And that's significant benefit. I'm glad that's working. Even though I had to take off the last month or so to kind of help myself reset, now that I'm back again, I can get these back going on a regular basis. And that's my plan here. I'll have an Uneven podcast coming out here in just probably a few days. So that'll happen pretty soon. And what was I talking about again? Oh, about the new site. But I've always wanted to have that community. I always wanted to have a place where we all can meet. We could do groups, do some support groups. We could do some classes. We could communicate. We can have spaces and all kinds of stuff. And I realized that the best way to really launch this is, even though it costs me some money, especially some money up front, and will cost me some over time, there's software out there, online software that really helps expedite this and simplifies this process. One that I've been researching for a while now, for a couple of years, and I went back and reanalyzed again and still feel like it might be our best choice. So instead of building that within our website at Wix, I'm planning on building that using this software. And that should speed up the development. That's part of what I think I did wrong before, is using this software. I'm not going to say what it is right now, but you'll see it soon enough. I've already started to reach out. Actually, I reached out to one person so far about being involved with it, and this person has agreed to be involved. And I will be reaching out to some other good friends of mine through the podcast and through the Benzo community to see if they want to be involved. We'll be pulling people in to help, different aspects of it and to build it out. But I also want to collect all these people right now to start to kind of figure out what this looks like and spend the next month maybe just kind of figuring out what features we offer, figuring out anyway, figuring out, and there goes the brain again as I'm singing my ums. I was talking about the software. Oh yeah, how it looks, but also figuring out like code of conduct, our principles. What's our path? If we're really trying to help people who have difficulties, struggle with things in life, people who have bind, benzo withdrawal, people who have maybe other drug withdrawal, people who have anxiety, people who have depression or chronic pain or anything that's, this is a group for the rest of us. It's for those of us whose life has been affected, often significantly, by some condition, mental, physical, physiological, whatever it is. Or maybe several of the above. And it's made our life harder for us. And helping those people live a better life. That's really the goal. That's really the goal I'm shooting for with this. And do that through a community of helping each other. As much as I will teach some classes on this, and I'm looking forward to teaching, I've already started developing some classes, some courses to offer through this site. I also am excited as much about having you all sharing with each other and learning from each other, and me learning from all of you, because I've learned so much from the people who have written into the podcast. And that's where I get a lot of my information from. You guys have been amazing, and thank you for that. But this site will start out really small, I'm sure, and it will grow. And now the plan I have in place, although this may change, and I'm telling you right up front, because I have told you this idea before. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes, and I can see it right now. It's like, yeah, he's promising a community. He did that 5 different times in the past 3 years. It's like, maybe I have. And maybe this will be one of them. I'm not going to make any promises right now. But I've always wanted to do this, and I really think I have the right platform now, and I think I have the right people I can now pull in. And I think I'm in a better place, and that's really the key right there. I'm in a better place to do it now. And so my plan right now may change. My plan right now is throughout August is to pull in these other people who I've been working with in the podcast and in the community who might be interested, having them sign on. Go ahead and sign on to get this. Today I'm going to sign on and get this software up and running for myself. And I'm going to have other people log in, and we'll start to communicate through this site, and we'll start to build things on this site. We're going to grow it organically. And then in the next month or two, I'm going to open it up to all of you and invite you all to come in as you want to and come on and help us grow it. Continue to do that. We just want to get some structure in place first. And from here through the end of the year, end of 2024, this will all be free. No charge. I don't believe in charging people for something that well, number one, they're also helping to create, but mostly that there's not much there yet. So I want to have that window to create things so we have something. Starting January 1st, 2025, my goal is to start as a membership site. Again, I have to start finding a way to bringing income at some point for myself, for my family. I've been doing this for free for a long time with very little income. I won't say free, but I got a little bit from the book, not a lot. I got a little book from teaching a couple classes. And I've gotten some donations, and some of you have been incredible in your donations, and that's been a huge help. But still, all that put together doesn't even quite cover my expenses. that's just how it is. So, but I am so grateful. I don't want to make anybody feel I'm not, but I really appreciate all that. But I want to get to where I don't have to ask for donations, to where people can, pay for what they get and they get what they pay for. And that's what I'm trying to do. And membership sites, I think, are very successful. And I think it's a good way to set this up. So that's what I'm doing. So starting January 1st, 2025, probably, we will start charging for that. Roll that over into that. It'll be a paid site. Hopefully by then people will be online and they'll say, hey, I really value this and I want to stay with it. And we'll use that pay not just to cover the expenses that we've done, because it cost me money to sign on for this. As soon as I sign on for this today, for this platform, I'm going to start paying. I think I get 2 weeks free. After that, then I start paying, and it's not cheap. So I already have all the expenses for my website, for my domains, for my emails, there's expenses every month for doing what I do. Podcast hosting engines, you name it. Graphic design. I pay for a lot of different stuff here, and it's not cheap. So first, it's going to go to expenses. Okay, that money will go to expenses to cover what we're doing. Second, it's going to go to reimburse people for their time, myself included, but also other people who are helping us to run this. I want people to come over and help us work this and actually get reimbursed for the time they put on. I believe in that. And I think that's something we can start to do. So that's probably more than you wanted to know. And that's the basics of what I'm trying to set up. But this is going to be a site for those of us who struggle with life. That's really what it's for, and helping those people to live a better life. May not be significant, but might be a little better. Maybe it will be significant. We'll work with tools and treatments. We're going to communicate with each other. We're going to find some answers just by talking. We're going to do some trainings. We're going to have all kinds of stuff on this site, but mostly it's a place to hang out. It's a space to be in where other people like you are hanging out, and we can help each other get through this. That's really what this is about. And I'm hoping it'll grow. It'll probably take a while to build up, but I think over time we'll build a community. We'll also build into not only courses online, but courses in person. I hope to go and start teaching around the country and other places. And also just to do meetups. I want to do some meetups through this site where we can, I love to travel. I like the road trip. Once I get this nerve pain thing, right now I can't drive. But I know this is temporary. And once I get past this and figure it out, then I want to get back on the road and I want to go see you all. I want to meet with you. I love that. I love the in-person communication. And I think that's a vital part of what we're trying to help people with here, is getting back to some basics, getting back to the basics of what helped make us strong, helped make us our own agents for what we do in life, and just help us to live a more meaningful and joyful life. And I think we can do that. Even despite all the problems we have going on, I know we can do this. And I'm hoping that together we can figure it out. Not me telling you how to, it's us getting together, helping each other figure this out. And that's how I've always felt the podcasts were, and that's how I feel this community is. So if you want to come along for the ride, please stay in touch. If you haven't subscribed to our mailing list, please do so. It's at easinganxiety.com. You can go there and just click on the drop-down menu for subscribe, and you can subscribe to our mailing list. And that'll get you on that, and that'll get you information as things go. But also I will provide updates through the podcast too. So those are two good ways to find out. Both on this one and the Uneven podcast, I will provide updates. So I'm excited about this. I know we can do this. And I think I've been in the community long enough, and I've been working with a lot of amazing people long enough that I know some really good people that would be really good at making this work. So I'm excited about that. I really am. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to let you all go. I still don't think this one is quite as good as the one I recorded 2 times ago. I don't know why. That one just flowed, and I had a ball with it. I don't know why. But it didn't record properly. That's what happens sometimes. That's the joys of recording a podcast and electronics and technology and all this such. But anyway. Let me close with this and just check in with you again, see how you're doing. I've had some of you write me recently, and I've seen some pretty difficult stories, and I'm truly sorry. For those of you who I haven't gotten back to, either via emails or comments, I'm sorry. That's my other goal too, is to try to get to where I can respond to people again. But sometimes I just block out all email and I'm not responsive, so that happens. And I apologize to those people. Some of you have written multiple times and are close friends of mine, and I'm sorry. I just want you to know that I kind of had to put a wall up between me and all this stuff going on for a while just to get through day by day. And I didn't mean to do that, but I did. And it happened. So anyway, I thank you for hanging with me. I thank you for your patience. I thank you for all the help that you have been providing each other. That's huge. That is so huge. And I hope you'll stick with us for the ride. I think there's some exciting things coming up. I know this has been a long road getting here, and we haven't always met the promises that I've made, I'll be honest, because something usually happened, like recently. But that's life. Life gets in the way sometimes of our plans. What's the old axiom? You want to hear God laugh, make plans. I think it's something like that. But it's true. It's true. God or the universe or cosmos or however you want to picture it may have something else in mind for you. And sometimes, maybe not even sometimes, most of the time, that's okay. That's okay. I don't know. I'm having trouble signing off again. I do this. How many people? Raise your hand if you're still with me right now. White Sox Club. Okay, well, thank you. That's good. It's a good number. I'm getting ornery. Anyway, I'm doing better. I think that's what I want to close with. I'm doing better. And I believe we all get better. I've had many downturns, setbacks as I call them. Yes, I'm sticking with the term setbacks. Because it's a step back or two. I think of setbacks as a step back. And that happens. And some of these are 3 or 4 steps back. But you start again and you go again. I know this is hard. And I know for some of you, hearing my struggles has been difficult for you. And that's not why I share them. I think you know that. I share them because I want to connect with you. I want to be honest with you. And I want you to know that I get it. That I understand. Because I do. I deal with this day in and day out. But I'm not gonna let it own me. I'm not gonna do that. And I hope you don't either. Hey, this is Dee. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out our podcast. I do need to remind everyone that this podcast is for informational purposes only and should never be considered medical, psychological, or professional health advice of any kind. You can read our full disclaimer on our website at easinganxiety.com/disclaimer. Also, if you or someone you know is dealing with significant mental health issues, please seek professional help. Resources can be found in our show notes and on our website at easinganxiety.com. Thanks again for stopping by, and remember, keep calm, taper slowly, and take care of yourself. I'll see you next time.